All right, guys, so here I am with Travis from Dream on Wheels, and we are at Angie Hayes' house. So what's going on with this video is I'm not going to do a normal edit with music or anything like that because there may be ghosts on the audio and or video of this. So what we're going to do, Travis, is I'm going to edit this whole video after this intro that I'm shooting right now because I have no idea what's going to be on it. So you guys are going to be the eyes and ears. Put some headphones on, maybe some noise canceling earbuds or something, and listen for the audio because this whole video, there may be ghosts, so stick around.
Oh, shoot.
We are in the West Virginia Penitentiary. It's no longer in service, but this place is huge, and I just got authorization to go inside and show you guys this penitentiary. Take a look.
All right, well, the penitentiary opened in 1866. It was in operation for 129 years until it was closed in 1995 due to the conditions here. Now, altogether, we had 998 documented deaths here at the prison.
898 documented.
998.
998.
Yes.
Wow.
That included executions, murders, suicides, and of course, natural causes. But the thing about that is they didn't start keeping records until 1920. So from 1866 to 1920, we have no idea. Now I mentioned executions. Altogether, we had 94 executions here at the prison. 85 by hanging, 9 by the electric chair. Now, when they decided to switch over from hanging to the electric chair, they were told it was more humane. It really wasn't. But when they did switch over, they sent an inmate from here named Paul Glenn over to the old Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus. He was a carpenter before he was incarcerated. He went over there, made sketches of their electric chair, came back here, and he is the one that built this one. Now, you can imagine he wasn't the most popular inmate in here after that, so they did have to transfer him out of here for his own safety. Now, we're going to start the tour here in non-contact visitation. The inmates would be brought into the room over there. That's called the Shakedown Room. They would be searched and shackled and brought in to sit here. Their visitors would come in the front door. They would be searched and they would be seated around the outside of the room. Now, originally, the inmates would talk to their visitors through these grates. And that worked fine up until around the 1960s, 1970s. That's when it was discovered some of the visitors would put LSD on dollar bills, roll them as tightly as they possibly could, and they could fit them through these tiny holes.
Wow.
Now, I know it looks impossible, but it can be done because we tried it. Without the LSD, of course. But once they discovered that, they did cover up the grates, and that's when they put the phone jacks in, and the inmates could talk to their visitors over the phone. All right, well, any questions in here?
No, not yet. So you can just imagine the story that Becky was just telling us, that if you were an inmate, you got walked into here and you sat down on these chairs and talked to your visitor through that glass. Put that into perspective as an inmate, as we walk through this prison with Becky, taking a tour of the West Virginia Penitentiary here in Moundsville, West Virginia.
Now this is the north yard. This is the oldest part of the prison. The very first structure that was completed was that white building down there, the wagon gate. When they got that done, they housed 100 inmates in there. Those inmates are the ones that built this entire north end of the prison.
Oh, really?
All the stone is hand cut and hand laid by inmates. The prison had 3 quarries, and all the stone came from one of those 3 quarries. Now the big center part here, that was the administration building. That is the only part of the prison that had any heat. The top 2 floors of the administration building, that was actually the warden's residence up until the 1950s. Now in the 1950s they did build a house outside the walls, but up until then the warden lived up in there. Now, okay, question for you.
Yeah.
Do you want any paranormal.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Okay.
It's Halloween, so yeah, definitely.
Okay, now, because down in the basement, you'll see the steps that lead down to the basement there. That's where the boiler room was located. That's also where the hole or solitary confinement was located. In the early years of the prison, it was brutal. They would chain a man to the wall in a standing position. He could be down there for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever the warden decided. It was very brutal. Now, I mentioned the boiler room. At one point in time, we had an inmate here named R.D. Wall. R.D., he was a trustee. He actually was allowed to live down in there, take care of the boilers, make sure everything was running smoothly. Well, because he had the privilege of living down there, the other inmates figured he must be a snitch or a rat. One day, 2 inmates snuck down in there and brutally murdered R.D. Wall down in the boiler room area. Now, R.D. is still with us. R.D. loves to touch women's hair. It is one of the areas that's accessible on our paranormal tours. So go down and tell R.D. hi.
So we're gonna go downstairs into this boiler room area if the door's unlocked. We'll see if we can get down there. Hopefully we can. Come with us.
Let me see if the door's unlocked. I don't have keys. That's locked.
It's locked. We're gonna see if we can get a key later on, but for right now we can't get in. Hopefully we can come back and get in.
Now actually this area here, where it's all fenced in here, originally there was a massive white building that stood here. That building was the death house. It's where all of the executions took place, the hangings, and then later it's where the electric chair was located. In the beginning, we actually had public executions here at the prison. People could buy tickets, they'd bring their children, pack a picnic lunch. It was like a big social event to come watch a hanging. And that actually went on clear up until the 1930s. Now in the 1930s, we had an inmate here named Frank Heyer. Frank Heyer was a big man. And believe it or not, there is somewhat of a science behind a hanging. The length of the rope depended on the weight, the height of the man. Well, when it came time for Frank Heyer's execution, somebody messed up, and the rope was too long for the size of the man. When Frank Heyer was hanged, he was instantly decapitated. His head, according to the stories, his head ended up at the feet of the onlookers. That put an instant stop to all public executions here. From that point on, it was by invitation only, the family of the victim, the family of the inmate, reporters, that kind of thing. Now, once they got the south end of the prison built, they moved all general population down there. And North Hall, which is a cell block up here at the north end of the prison, it became the area where they housed the most violent inmates. In fact, they called North Hall the Alamo because they said it was their last stand. If you got sent to North Hall, you probably would never get out of there alive. Now, once they tore the death house down here, they took this area, fenced it in, and it became the recreation yard for those men in North Hall. Like I said, these men were by far the most violent inmates here at the prison.
Stuff that you would never know about prisons.
Yeah.
About death rooms, last stance rooms, buildings that are torn down because there's so much death that happened here.
Yeah, actually, West Virginia, I don't know if you want that or not, but West Virginia abolished the death penalty in 1965. It's never been reinstated. We don't have the death penalty here in the state. So the inmates actually asked the warden if they could tear down the death house once the death penalty was abolished, and the warden agreed. So it got torn down in 1966. Okay, we are now in North Hall. This is the oldest cell block in the prison. This is original to the mid-1800s. Now this cell here, this actually belonged to an inmate. This cell belonged to an inmate named William Snyder, went by the nickname Red. Red was the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood. He was good friends with another inmate named Rusty Lassiter. The two got along fine. They were allowed to go out to the rec yard together. Well, Rusty Lassiter, he belonged to another inmate named Elijah Sarton. Elijah went by the nickname Blue. Well, Blue decided he wanted to take over leadership of the Aryan Brotherhood And he told Rusty to make that happen. So one day when they opened the cells for Red and Rusty to go out to the rec yard, Rusty ran into this cell right here and stabbed Red 37 times. Red died right on the floor here.
Wow.
This cell was actually Rusty's cell right here. And this cell was Blue's cell. Excuse me.
Can you imagine what it was like to live in this 6x10 cell, 5x7 cell of metal walls, a toilet, and a bed smaller than the one that I have in the van by more than 50% every single day? This is what you did for hours. And the inmates are probably just let out for half an hour to an hour at a time, 1 hour at a time, every single day just to get out of this cell and to get some sunshine outside in the yard. So, wow, creepy. This was their front door.
Okay, now like I said, this is the oldest part of the prison. This is one of the original cell blocks. Now, before they built the south end of the prison and moved general population out of here, this was a general population cell block. But when we had the extreme overcrowding here at the prison, if you can imagine, they had 3 men housed in each of these cells. They had 2 bunks and a mattress on the floor.
Mattress on the floor, underneath this, that bunk, and the other one, you can still see where it was mounted.
Now, once they moved general population out of here, and they did move the most violent inmates up here, it was only 1 man per cell at that point, but those men were confined to their cells for 23 hours a day. They only got out for 1 hour a day to go out to the rec yard.
Wow, what's all this?
That cell belonged to an inmate that went by the name Scrappy. Scrappy was a tattoo artist, and he definitely decorated his cell up quite a bit. Now, all the writing, all the drawings you see in the cells was all done by the inmates that was housed there. I don't know, have you ever heard of it's a series on Hulu called Castle Rock?
Oh, no, I haven't.
It's based on Stephen King characters, but the first season of Castle Rock, a lot of it took place in a prison setting. It was all filmed here.
Oh, no kidding.
And actually the cell you were just filming, that was the cell they used for the main character in Castle Rock, because it is by far the most unique cell here in the prison.
Very interesting, thank you. Am I able to go upstairs?
Up here, we're not allowed to go up because it's not safe.
Okay, no worries.
It's not very...
No, that's fine.
We're now in the administration building. 2 floors above us is where the warden's residence was. Now this here, this is what we call the wheel. And this is one of only 2 that exist in the world. There's this one, and there's one in Manchester, England, at a prison called Strangeway Prison, and they are the only 2 that exist. But this actually did provide excellent security for the warden and his family.
Oh, so this was their basically locked front door.
Exactly. You can see the stairs through here. That led up to the warden's residence. And this is what separated the warden from the inmates.
Very interesting. Okay.
I'll take you upstairs. Here is one of the most paranormally active areas of the whole prison. This is the infirmary and the psych ward. This area here is the infirmary area.
Creepy.
Now you'll see a lot of artwork on the walls up here, all done by the inmates.
They leave the lights off up here on purpose, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
For the dramatic effect.
Yeah. Yeah, this is... Did you just hear that?
Huh, what was it? A thunk?
I thought I heard a voice, to be honest with you.
Well, let me do this. So Becky, as soon as I walked into this pink room, she said to me, "Did you just hear that?" So I'm going to mark this part of the video, and I'm going to go back and increase the audio right before she said that and see if we pick up something paranormal. What do you think you heard?
It sounded like a voice, but like I said, this is one of the most paranormally active areas in the prison is up here. Did you hear that?
I heard a boom. Yeah, is that not normal?
No.
Oh my gosh. We got booms, we got voices.
We're now over in the psych ward area.
So what I'm gonna do on this camera, when I zoom in on something, it increases the audio to that area. So that's gonna up my white noise balance on the video. So since we're in the most paranormal area of this prison, I'm gonna go back down to the end of the hall where we came from, and I'm gonna zoom the camera all the way in and walk from one end to the other. And we'll meet right there. You wanna come with me? You probably wanna come with me.
It's up to you.
Yeah, come. No, come with me. Because I wanted to, if we hear the same thing, that'd be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's got microphones on each side and two on this side. And when I zoom in, whatever microphone is facing that area, it ups the dB of that microphone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. You can almost feel like somebody's in these rooms that you walk by that are dark.
This is a very active area. I mean, this is where people catch by far the most activity.
Okay, we are in the exact spot we started this. I wish I would have known this before, but that's just what happens here on TV. I've walked up these stairs. Now we're gonna walk down that hallway where Becky heard some paranormal activity. I did hear a bang. I'm gonna increase the audio on this, and we're gonna walk all the way down there completely silent to see if we find something on video. Let's go. I heard footsteps behind us.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, now in here. These are the isolation cells here in the psych ward. They're locked.
So we are in a location in the psych ward, correct? Mm-hmm. So we're in the psych ward and we're in these isolation cell areas. And this is how big they are. Do you know what the square footage is in here?
I don't.
It looks like 7 by 5, maybe 12 feet tall. Being locked in here, like she said, for 30 days at a time, 60 days, 90 days, or even longer. Can you imagine? That is your only view of anything. 8 inches of a barred window. Weird. Okay.
Let's see a bed.
What is that?
We would lay here, and this would be put down over the head.
For what reason?
Keep them stabilized.
Oh my gosh. Here, I got this. There you go. Kind of adds to the spookiness factor.
Okay, we're going to go into new wall here. Now these are the newer cell blocks. Yeah, this is the newer area of the prison.
Newer being built when?
They started construction in 1929, but they did pause during World War II and also during the Korean conflict. So it really wasn't totally completed until 1959. But you can see the cells are a lot more modern than the ones in North Hall, but they are the same size. They are still 5 by 7 cells. Now we have that one set up just to give you an idea of what life was like here in the prison.
Wow.
Now all the cell blocks here in the prison are 4 tiers high. And there's actually 4 cell blocks right here. This is J block. K block's on the back side of this. Down there is L block, and M block's on the back side of it. And further south in the prison, there's also an honor hall cell block and a protective custody cell block. So when they built the south end of the prison here, they definitely put enough cells in. We never had the overcrowding problem again that we had before. And we can go to upper tiers if you want.
Yeah, definitely. good.
Yeah.
I do it 3 times a day.
You're a trip.
I do it 3 times a day, just walking on pavement.
All right, you're now on the top cell, or top tier of the cell block.
Okay. Wow, just took a few seconds to sit in there to kind of feel what it was like to be an inmate, and I can't put it into words what it's like sitting in a cell that big on this top floor of this prison, thinking, what would it be like? What did I do to deserve to be locked into these cells for the rest of my life? Had to be something pretty heinous. You've got these 2 bunk beds in here. Most of these cells have 2 of them. Can you imagine sharing a cell this big with another person who's in here for something that put them here for the rest of their lives? I got asked a question here that I really don't know the answer of it yet, so I put the camera back on to have Becky ask me that again. What was the question?
Would you like to get locked up? If you'd like to go in the cell, I will electronically close the doors, and I might open them back up.
We got to do it. We've got to do it. I'm getting locked in. Well, I am officially in jail. I am locked up. I cannot get out. I'm going to take a second here to reflect. I'm not even sure if I'm getting out, so I might have more than a second to reflect. But I'm just going to take a step back here and soak in the feeling of being locked in a penitentiary. I've served my time.
You ready to get out?
I'm ready to get out.
All right, step back away from the door.
I'm free. I'm out. I was in there. I was locked up. I highly suggest that you guys come down here, take a tour, and get locked into that prison. Get locked into where the Nomoc was locked up. I highly suggest it. But I'm going to take a walk down these halls to get the last feeling of what it's like to be in a prison. And it's completely dark in here. Probably just the way it was way back in the 50s. And before that, on the other side of the old prison, it puts it into perspective for me, places like this that I see where inmates were stored for the rest of their lives for the crimes they committed against other people. I'm at a loss for words. I really am. Guys, come down to West Virginia State Penitentiary. Take the tour. If you can get here by Halloween, there's some things also they got going on, so I would do that. Wow, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel if you want to see more epic adventures like this. This is the month of Halloween, so today and other videos we're going to be doing of places that creep me out, but also bring you along to creep you out. So, if you want to be locked in a prison, maybe that cell right there, come on down and say hi. All right, guys, I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next one.